Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Brome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders, all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to our show number 984. Well, it's always cool to hear about rare bird sightings, and there was a very notable one this week when amateur photographer and non-birder Michael Sanchez traveled to Northwest Oregon to take pictures of waterfalls. While he was waiting for the morning sun to ascend the nearby cliffs, he saw a small bird nearby. He had no idea what it was, but figured it would be a good photo subject to practice on while he waited for the ideal lighting. But later he wondered about this blue and chestnut colored bird and posted his photos on Facebook to see if any experts might help him ID it. And they did, as a blue rock thrush, a bird of Europe and Asia that had never been before reported in the U.S., including Alaska. That bird, by the way, despite the name, is apparently not a thrush, once thought to be a member of that family, but it's been reclassified as a species of chat. We'll get a photo of the bird. It's pretty spectacular looking on our website right after the show. We have a couple of island-based audio postcards today, starting with one from Georgia, in which Wink Weinberg struggles to be heard over a very loud bird.
There's a skimmer flying out over, going towards the sand, and in line with the fishermen, now flying left, really low, just flying left.
Oh, here it comes.
Yeah, now it's out in the open.
To the right. So there's a little inlet to the right, like not the pond, but you go up where you can see the beach.
Thank you, Wink. They're at Dauphin Island, Georgia, and those loud clapper rails. Well, we have some more loud birds in our audio postcard department today, and also from an island, a very big island in this case. It's from Gino Ellison on the island of Hispaniola.
Hey, Ray. I'm in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, and I'm in the midst of over 2,000 Hispaniolan parakeets. They are still loud and getting ready to roost for the night, but it's fantastic to see all these beautiful birds here. I hope you're doing great. I hope all of your followers are doing super, and I'll keep in touch. Take care, Ray.
All right, thank you, Gino. Gino Ellison, famous for that big year that he completed quite recently. We'll be talking with him again about that and some talks that he's giving about it. Meanwhile, a little preview here of our Mystery Bird Contest coming along a bit later on in the show. Today's mystery bird proved elusive to our little birding group last Sunday when we followed up on reports of its sighting at a spectacular conservation area called World's End here in the South Shore of Massachusetts. The bird's description is as follows: a medium-sized songbird with a large silver-gray bill. The male in breeding plumage is deep purplish blue with chestnut wing bars. The female mostly cinnamon-colored with brown wing bars. Our bird winters in the tropics, breeds across most of the U.S. except for the northernmost states. Found mostly in forest edges and fields and hedgerows, feeding on insects and seeds gleaned from the ground. Beautiful prizes, as always, including a $25 gift certificate for Bird Collective. That's your one-stop shop for vintage-inspired apparel and unique accessories, all featuring birds. And a big bag of our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, truly delicious Birds and Beans coffee. On the upcoming Mystery Bird Contest, coming along here in just a little bit. Here's a royal salute to another member of the royalty of Talkin' Birds, our Talkin' Birds ambassadors, listeners who help us spread the word about birds and conservation. And we thank Steve Francis from Adelaide, Australia. He says, "Hi, Ray. I'm a mad keen birder living in the Adelaide Hills, South Australia. Love the show and tell everyone about it and the website. We have about 350 species of birds here, and my backyard list is around 60. Love Mike's input, although I doubt Cape Cod's weather is as good as ours. Cheers, Steve." Thank you, Steve, and I'm sure Mike will be happy to hear your comments as soon as he gets over the fact that there is a place with better weather than Cape Cod. By the way, we had set a goal of growing our ambassadors' family to the milestone level of 875 members by the end of April. And we almost made it, falling short by just 3 listeners becoming ambassadors. So, Talking Birds listeners and friends, we hope you'll help us reach that goal, even if a little late. How to do it in just a moment, but first, here's one of our superstar listeners offering a couple of thoughts on why she likes being a Talking Birds ambassador.
My name is Susan Tomei Barrett, and I'm calling from Orlando, Florida. I became a Talking Birds ambassador because I enjoy the show, and I feel it's a really good way to get people to learn about birds in an enjoyable way. The more people know about birds, the more they're encouraged to participate in conservation and protection of birds. What I enjoy about being a Talking Birds ambassador is I like to be able to share with other people a good way to enjoy birds in another manner besides going out into the field. I would encourage listeners to become a Talking Birds ambassador because it's a great way to share your love of birds with other people.
Thank you, Susan. Beautifully said. To join Susan and 872 other listeners in our ambassadors family, just click on the Get Involved tab at the top of our talkingbirds.com website homepage. That's the Get Involved tab at talkingbirds.com. Still to come today, we'll hear from a scientist who's not afraid to have a little fun while he pursues some important environmental work when we welcome Dr. Sean Anderson and listen to his plastic pollution rockabilly song. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for Let's Ask Live Mike segment from cloudy Cape Cod. He's going to be talking about osprey platforms and some of the other birds that find their way in there. And up next, a bird that gets its lemon yellow color in an unusual way is today's featured feathered friend.
In many peak spring migration as birds move north. Not all birds head north in the spring. American dippers, yellow prairie falcons, and greater.
Shall we play it from a different location? All right, here we go. And take 2.
In many parts of North America, peak spring migration is happening right now as birds move north to breeding areas. But not all birds head north in the spring. Many, American dippers, yellow-eyed juncos, prairie falcons, and greater sage grouse among them, change altitude instead, moving to higher elevations in the spring. And some, like today's featured feathered friend, may move back and forth between east and west. Our bird is Lawrence's goldfinch, a small and beautiful finch with a yellow breast, dark wings with bright yellow bars, a gray nape and back, a grayish-yellow rump, white underparts, and a black cap and face. The subdued plumage females lack the black cap and facial marks. Unlike other goldfinch species, the male Lawrence's goldfinch doesn't acquire its bright yellow breeding plumage from molting, but rather from wear, as a brownish feather color is rubbed away, exposing the yellow parts of the feathers below. The Cornell Lab of Ornithology explains that in some years, Lawrence's goldfinches choose that east-west migration pattern, moving in spring from southern parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas into breeding grounds in California. And they describe the bird as having no loyalty to its breeding areas, occurring in large numbers in a local area one year and absent the next year. It's thought that their nomadic movements are probably related to water and seed crop availability. General population levels for Lawrence's goldfinch are relatively stable. With the American Ornithological Society getting ready to move away from having birds named for people, this bird will soon get a new common name. Its current moniker honors 19th century New York ornithologist and businessman George Lawrence. Its scientific name is likely to stick, though. It's Spinus or Spinus lawrencei, today's featured feathered friend, Lawrence's goldfinch.
Welcome again to our show, number 984. Well, Dr. Sean Anderson is an American conservation biologist, restoration ecologist, and professor of environmental science and resource management at California State University, Channel Islands. He's also the creator and performer of the plastic pollution rockabilly song, an important distinction there, which we'll hear in just a few minutes. And he joins us right now from, Ventura, California. Good morning, Sean.
Morning. Almost sunny, Ventura.
Almost sunny. Yes. You were brave enough to say it wasn't totally sunny there today. Well, Sean, before we hear the song, I want to ask you something else that sounds lighthearted, but also represents some quite serious efforts. If we use the acronym for it, it's the Pirate Lab. Tell us about that, if you would.
Yes, I used to historically refer to my lab as the Pacific Institute for Restoration Ecology. A few years ago, I got in trouble with my university because it wasn't an approved institute. So I was told I couldn't use that full name, so I just used the acronym. And so now I just call it the Pirate Lab, and everybody thinks that we're like, a bunch of sailing around, rebels, causing problems. But it was actually, I'm trying to comply with the law. So I'm the Pirate Lab.
All right. What an irony, complying with the law by being a pirate. I mean, it's just it's just too ironic there. Well, Sean, plastics have been around for a long time, longer than we think maybe sometimes. I guess to the 1800s, one of billiard balls, I think, was one of the first applications. Yep. But I'm just reading it wasn't until the 1970s that we became aware that small plastic fragments were building up in the ocean, right?
Yeah, so basically, plastic has been with us in a commercial sense, commercial scale, really since about 1907. Made this stuff called Bakelite that was really helpful for insulating wires and things of that nature. And then as we progress throughout the rest of the 1900s, we get more and more materials, particularly after World War II, massive increase in production of all these different types, diversity, uses, etc. of plastics. But really, we don't first, as you mentioned, we don't really start recognizing that this stuff is getting everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean not just physically everywhere, but also interstitial, into the soil, into critters, into us, until about the 1970s. And with the advance of new technologies as we move into the 80s and 90s, we start to recognize that these plastics, especially smaller plastics, are just everywhere. I first really got my first awareness of this was when I, in late 80s, early 90s, started seeing some albatrosses, ocean-going albatrosses that had died on, Midway or, out in the middle of the Pacific, slice them open, and bottle caps and all, guts full of macroplastic. And so that macroplastic is the first sense that something was up. And as we started looking, especially in the last 15 years, with a bunch of new fancy tools that we have to prove these little teeny small objects are actually plastic, we found it everywhere. We found it at the bottom of the deepest parts of the ocean, the highest parts of our mountain, atmosphere, in ourselves, in critters. It's ubiquitous.
Sean, we have the plastic pollution song queued up here, but before we play it, can you give us a little backstory? Want to go right into it?
Oh, sorry. So the backstory is when I teach my classes, when I work with folks, I find that sometimes science can be a little bit dull to some people, or some of our messages can be a little doomerist or a little negative. So I find that it's really, really helpful to introduce all kinds of art. And music is a fantastic example of that. So either to introduce a topic, or once we're learning about that topic, sort of start to play it. And these things might seem scary, but we should have fun, and we can be engaging as we talk about these. And so that this is an example of a song that I wrote to introduce, talk about plastics.
Here it is, Plastic Pollution, a Rockabilly Song.
Well, plant your guitar in the slick back there. Let me tell you a story, let me take you there. Here's a little problem going each day. Plastic pollution got a lot to say. Plastic pollution, a real bad scene, making our oceans dirty and green. Ain't gonna sit, ain't gonna wait. Clean up this mess before it's too late. From the city streets to the ocean shore. Fibers can't take it no more. Straws and bottles, bags and cups, choking our world, messing it up. Plastic pollution, modern day blues. Killing critters, spreading bad news. Ain't gonna let it, but won't surrender. Fight for our planet, cleaner and better. Roll up our sleeves, get down to the grind. Stop the clock, one well at a time. Make a difference, you and me. And all free world, can't you see? Plastic pollution, a Rockabilly song. Where's our justice taking too long? Kick polymers, let's make it right. Rocking for the planet every day and night. So let's boogie on down to a cleaner earth, where plastic pollution ain't stealing our mirth.
Plastic Pollution, a Rockabilly Song. Let's boogie on down to a cleaner earth where plastic pollution ain't stealing our mirth. Lyrics and performance by Sean Anderson. Sean, you even got a little Tennessee twang in there. Pretty impressive. Our time is disappearing so quickly here. Let me just wrap up. And Sean, I want to give you an open invitation to come back on. There's so much more, obviously, on this to talk about. But one quick thing, and that is the idea that most of us do what we can to fight against plastics and not use single use. Right. But you make a point of saying we shouldn't feel guilty about that, right? Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So in the 80s, the triangles at the bottom of our plastics were introduced. So the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, and the idea there was to shift the blame to you, the listener, you, the citizen, and you should feel bad. You need to figure out which bin to put this particular object into, this straw, this container. That's baloney. The system is producing way too much. We've produced over 9,000 million metric tons over the last century or so. You, the individual consumer, are not going to be able to influence that, right? We need to have systemic change. We need to have closed loops. We need to have sustainable economies. And the notion that we've made this material from the bottom of the earth from oil pools and petroleum pools, turn that into stuff that we touch once and throw away, that's a systemic issue. So what we should be working on is our laws, policies to not have this stuff in the first place. You feeling bad is a way to get you disengaged. You feeling bad is a way to make you feel you're responsible. In fact, we need to change the system as a whole. If you'll come back with us again soon, Sean, I want to ask you about the recently concluded big international plastic pollution conference, this one in Ottawa. Absolutely. Yeah, so a great example of something we're trying to do at the international level in addition to U.S. and local levels. Yeah, happy to do it. Before we go, let me make sure I got your website correct. Correct me if I don't. Piratelab.org. Piratelab.org is the website. That's it. And tell us quickly about your YouTube channel. Yeah, so if folks want to hear about any of the work we do, they can just search for me, Sean Anderson, and my department, ESRM, Sean Anderson, ESRM on YouTube. And you'll find links in almost all my lectures, almost all my field observations, There's a gazillion million things up there people want to learn about plastic and other things about our environment.
Indeed, and I can certainly vouch for that. Dr. Sean Anderson is an American conservation biologist, restoration ecologist, and professor of environmental science and resource management, ESRM, at California State University, Channel Islands. Sean, thanks for being with us. Thanks for your great work.
Thanks, Ray.
And fine singing.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Coming up next here, it's our mystery bird contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. That's our mystery bird. We have beautiful and delicious prizes here on the Mystery Bird Contest. Our bird is a male. Let me start that again. Our bird is a medium-sized songbird with a large silver-gray bill. Somebody put these sentences in the wrong order here. The male in breeding plumage is deep purplish blue with chestnut wing bars. The female mostly cinnamon-colored with brown wing bars. Our bird winters in the tropics, breeds across most of the U.S., feeds on insects and seeds gleaned from the ground. The beautiful prize from Bird Collective. It's a $25 gift certificate for their vintage-inspired apparel and unique accessories, all featuring birds. And a big bag of our favorite coffee. Shade-grown, bird-friendly, and delicious birds and beans coffee, grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat for all the birds that we love here up in North America. 781-837-4900 is the number to call. Call us as soon as you possibly can. And don't worry about having the right answer, because if no one gets the right answer, a drawing will determine our winner. 781-837-4900 is the number. That's 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, let's ask Mike live in just 1 minute.
Welcome to a world where bird feeding is enjoyable for both you and your feathered friends. Introducing Squirrel Buster Bird Feeders by Brome. Our innovative feeders are designed to keep squirrels at bay, ensuring that your garden birds get their fair share. And the best part? We offer lifetime care for every feeder, making your purchase worry-free. Transform your garden into a bird paradise and keep it that way forever. Sorry, squirrels, it's just for the birds this time. Visit Brome.com, BROME.com, to discover our full range of Squirrel Buster feeders and join the Brome family today. Brome, where birds come first, and our commitment to you lasts a lifetime.
Mike O'Connor is down there at the famous Birdwatchers General Store, where we were just kidding before. It's really always sunny down there on Cape Cod. It's very similar to South Adelaide, Australia, in that regard. But is Mike there? That's what he meant.
Yeah. I heard what that Steve said. He said it's got better weather. Let me tell you, Australia is a wonderful country. They got great birds. The people as well. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the time I was there, they call the weather good, okay, but it was 900 degrees every day. I can do without that.
And they don't have a stump dump like you have there, I don't think, on the Cape.
I know what's going on.
Yeah. So my notes here, I can't really read them, but they have to do with an osprey platform and another bird that's taking advantage of that osprey platform, one that's probably not as people aren't quite as interested in as ospreys. But tell us about that.
Well, we have an osprey platform behind the store in the parking lot, and the ospreys have been using it. And lately, people have been pointing out another bird going in. And what's that other bird going in and out of between the sticks and the debris? And the osprey platform is a family of house sparrows living in there, or we'll call it living, but setting up a nest and breeding in there. And people are stunned at that because, as we know, ospreys are one of the largest predators in North America. And here's this little songbird right next to it going in and out. Well, the osprey has eggs, and raising a family, you would think would be not only want to eat the sparrow, but be more protective, but they don't care. Doesn't care. Yeah. Ospreys, strictly, what's the word, pescatarians?
Oh, just like fish. Really they just like fish.
They just eat fish. If they eat fish, they're not interested. They're not interested in this little sparrow going in and out. And they seem to have worked it out. And we kind of thought, well, is that unusual? I looked around, went through the literature. In this case, literature is the internet. And a lot of birds do that. There's been other birds in there, starlings, swallows have used osprey nests at the same time, and even monk parakeets down in Florida, those big kind of noisy green birds, lived in osprey nests. And then it becomes a question, do the ospreys protect the birds and they know that, or are they both kind of oblivious to each other because they don't care? In a lot of areas, I kind of noted where yellow warblers will nest near red-winged blackbirds because the red-winged blackbirds keep the cowbirds away, which can be parasitic. Or in the Arctic, some waterfowl nest near snowy owls, which seems dangerous, but the snowy owls keep an even more serious predator away, which are the Arctic foxes. So there's a whole thing. Do the birds figure it out and do the math and think, okay, I'll be safer here, or they just happen to nest there and they're successful? And unlike the Lawrence's warbler you mentioned earlier, birds tend to come back to the same place where they were successful the year before. So they come back and they nest there, and are they thinking the owl's keeping the predators away, or it just it worked out and I'm going to come back? That's your question there, Ray. That you could have worked on that. I know the music's coming.
That was a heck of an answer there. It's nice to hear about that loyalty to nesting areas among some birds.
Right.
And that cooperation there. Mike, thank you so much for all those answers, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds pretty groovy, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, Mike O'Connor at sunny, beautiful Cape Cod and the famous Birdwatchers General Store. Meanwhile, this is the mystery bird right here. The question is, what is that mystery bird? Please tell us, or give us your guess at 781-837-4900. That's 781-837-4900. Just very quickly, another round of clues with a very brief version of that. A medium-sized songbird with a large silver-gray bill. The male in breeding plumage is deep purplish blue with chestnut wing bars. Female mostly cinnamon-colored with brown wing bars. And Patricia is in Pembroke, Massachusetts. Good morning, Patricia. Hello, Patricia.
Yes.
There you are. Good morning, Patricia. What do you think?
Good morning to you. I hope you have a good day today.
Well, thank you, but don't say goodbye yet. We want to see what you think the mystery bird is there.
I can very faintly hear you.
Could you say that again? You're getting some
Is
help.
Is it the snake bird?
The snake bird. You mean the anhinga? No, it is not the snake bird, the anhinga.
Nope.
No, that is not it, but I want to thank you very much for that guess there. But you know what?
I want to thank you, too. Have a good day.
By the way, before you go, Patricia, we might flip the cards here, and we might have you as the winner. We're going to do a drawing here. Who is our winner? We don't have time to take another call. I guess it would be you, Patricia, as the winner. In fact, I'm certain of it. There it is. And with that, we are out of time. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next week.
One more quick thing. The mystery bird was the blue grosbeak.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Brome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.